Hey everybody, Dave Clark, aka the Pattern Guy. Hey, we're gonna get started doing our pattern today. We go a little bit different than what I had laid out, but we'll show you everything that we're gonna do in there. My buddy wants stuff a little bit different than we laid it out, but we'll trudge along. I just want to start working on this pattern and start, showing you guys how to do them. Before we get started, a couple things I want to show you. A couple weeks ago we went down to Foundry Port some bronze, okay? That job, I usually machine them after. That job got put on hold, but I want to see how the castings came out. If you can see this right here, see how nice and solid that is? That's where the gating got cut off right here, okay? And this is really nice solid. You don't see any holes or pits in it. That's a sign of a good casting. Okay, so hopefully once we start machining these down the road, whenever he gets ready to release a purchase order again, we'll start machining those, and we'll do a little series on that too. The other thing I got here real quick, I'll pick this thing up. I don't have a camera guy today. These are what's called cope and drag boxes. Okay, so here's the pattern here. Here's the pattern here. This box around here, okay, this box around here, what they do with those is they end up filling them full of that air set sand, like I told you. And the reason this is getting to be a lot more popular now, like I said, you could hire a guy, making a minimum wage, just dump sand in here. That's all they got to do. Okay, in the old days, like I was saying, molders actually had to go through apprenticeships in that and learn how to mold. Okay, so with the trend now, it just seems like everybody just wants to make money. That's all they care about. So you can get a little bit better quality casting a lot of times with these too. But like I said, it's got pros and cons both ways. You can get a nicer finish because the sand is way smoother. So that's one other benefit from them. But like I said, you're losing the skills for the molder. I mean, everything's just getting dumbed down anymore. So that's why I want to try to go back to old school and get you into being a good craftsman again. Okay, so let me turn the camera off for a second, and I'll get ready to start going on the pattern. All right. Okay guys, we're going to get going on this pattern now. We did this layout in the first segment, okay? So when I first started explaining it, I was saying how we have to determine how we're going to make this, okay? So a lot of the determination is like flask size is what you have. Okay, the way I laid this out here, unfortunately, I don't have a flask to make it the way that we're going to do it this way. So what it would be is we would be molding it. The flask would have to be way high here. So I don't have a flask that high. I mean, we could build one like I showed you. So we'd have to have like a 10-inch high flask. Okay, if we did it that way, I could make one. The only thing is, 10-inch high flask, that's going to be, you're going to have like 150 pounds of sand in there, so I don't feel like lifting that either, okay? So I have a couple flasks. If what we do is if we turn this way and we use this center line here as a parting line, and instead of a flat back pattern, we're going to make it a split pattern, okay? So like I said, we're going to change our mind on the way we're going to do this. We'll do a flat back. Like I said, hopefully I'm going to be doing this for a long time with you guys, depending on how things go. So you're going to I'll show you a whole bunch of different ways to do this stuff, okay? So we're going to get started with this. So what I got to do is, like I did with the flask, I got to get a semi-lumberless going, but it's going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to actually write stuff down. I'm just going to kind of do it as I go, because this is actually, as you're going along, you might change your mind, different ways you're going to do things too. So, like right now, what I'll probably do is is this piece right here. That's this piece right here, okay? So traditionally what you should do is that should be the whole length of this, and then we'll butt this piece into that, okay? So what I'll do, and you could do it either way. We could make this all the way, you could butt this into there, but we're gonna do it that way, and then we'll make this gusset, we're gonna change this gusset, okay? We're just gonna go with the curved. We're gonna put a lot of draft on it, kind of make it look a little retro. All right, so I'll get started with this. What I'm gonna do is go grab a piece of lumber, and we'll go ahead and start getting a little bit of a start, okay? Okay, got my piece of lumber. This was rough cut. I took it down to my buddy's shop. He's got a big planer. We end up planing when I get it, because if I put it through there, it's gonna take a couple hours, okay? Number 2 common, knots every 2 feet is what it's supposed to be. These are hard knots, they're gonna stay in here. Okay, as craftsmen, what I try to teach you is to use your lumber as efficiently as we can, okay? So this pattern's gonna be a little bit smaller, so I'm gonna waste a little bit of wood. You try not to waste as much wood as you can, okay? Because you're paying for this, all right? So, and you don't want to waste wood either, okay? I'm not a huge tree hugger, but I want wood to be around for quite a while, all right? So I'm gonna cut around the knots in this one when we're making this pattern. If I'm making a bigger pattern, you know, we'll leave knots in, but as much as I can, I'm gonna cut around the knots in this pattern, okay? So as we said before, okay, we got a standard ruler. We're gonna make aluminum casting. This is a 3/16 per foot shrink rule, okay? So I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna put back in my toolbox so I don't pick it up. The only ruler I'm gonna use is 3/16 inch shrink, okay? It's 3/16 of an inch longer than this 1 foot scale or ruler, okay? So I'm gonna put this aside right now. So what you do to get started, like I said, I'm not gonna make a whole lumber list off of there. I'm gonna go piece by piece by piece, okay? What you do, I'm here by myself. All the shops that I've ever worked in, we have other guys, so after we lay the pattern out, you give it to another guy, they check it out for you. Okay, I don't have that here, I'm by myself. So what I usually do is, as I'm layout, you start building your pattern off of the layout, okay? Periodically, you're gonna have to go back, and what I do is take a measurement off of my layout when I'm making a piece for that, and then what I do is I go back and check the dimension on the drawing to double check myself, because like I said, I don't have anybody here to check myself, okay? All right, so first of all, what I'm gonna do, like I said, we're gonna get a starting point. So my starting point is this piece right here, okay? And that'll be this right here, okay? That's gonna be that piece right there. And this is things you're gonna learn as you go along, okay? So I said drawing is so important. The different views, we're gonna make it 2D, we're gonna start making this 3D right now. Okay, so like I said, we didn't allow for draft in this also. We got our machine marks in there, okay? So what I'll do is I'll measure this piece, and you know, we got 12, and then it's like another 3/4, so 12 3/4, and then it's roughly 1 1/4 wide, so 12 3/4. So I'm gonna leave like about an extra inch on the length of that, and then the width, the 1 1/4, I'll go like 1.5 inches, okay? And actually that'll be the width of this. So what we'll do is, and got the length, I said we'll go 13.5, okay? And then, like I said, I usually use the mechanical pencil. When I'm doing on the big pieces of lumber, I just use a regular one because it's so thin it'll start busting, okay? Just use a framing square for this, okay? Alright, so I got my length, okay, of my first piece right here. Alright, so now I need how wide it's going to be. Okay, so this is going to be my width right here. All right, there's no machining on this, and that'll be the top of the pattern, so I don't need to add draft on these surfaces, okay, because that's going to be the top. All right, so we're at 2 3/4, so I'll just make 3-inch pieces. Now here's a trick. My hands are old, I got thick skin, calluses, okay. This is one of the things I do. I'll just take and you know, put my fingers on there. What you can do, I'll show you another trick you can do. Okay, I got that a little bit more, right? So another trick you can do is, we got 3 inches, so I gotta go 6 would be my next. You could do the same thing here, but don't forget, this is a standard ruler, so you gotta use your shrink rule. Okay, so that's another trick you can do. Get your 6 inches on there. Okay. All right, now this board, I did the wrong terminology before. I said thickness, okay? So we got your length, okay? You got your width. This right here is your thickness, okay? So this board that I got out here, this started out, this right now is 1.5 inches. Okay, so when you do boards like this in rough cut lumber, when you order this, I don't say I need 1.5 inches thick piece of pine, okay? We say it in quarters, okay? So there's 4/4 to 1 inch. So this is 1.5 inches. All right, so 4/4 is 1 inch, and then another 2/4 for the half. So this board is 6/4 wide, okay? That's what's called a 6/4 board. Okay, 2 inches would be 8/4, inch thick is 4/4, okay? So we need, I know this is 1.5 inches right now, okay? We gotta have 1.25 inches, I believe it was, or a little under 1.25 inches. So we'll be good to this. So I'm gonna take this over the bandsaw, okay? Okay, I rough cut these on the bandsaw. Next step is I'm going to go over to the sander, okay? What we need to do in pattern making, everything, well, not everything, most everything, especially your parting, it's got to be perfectly flat, okay? I want to say flat and square all the time, but you know, we got to put draft on things, so things aren't going to be square as far as the edges, but we will make a square part on this thing, but for the most part, we want everything flat and square. So I just made a bandsaw cut on here. So we're gonna go to the bandsaw, cut these 2 pieces. Like I said, will be these 2 pieces right here. Let's see if we can flip that up. Okay, that's gonna be these 2 pieces right here, and then looking down from the top, it'll be that piece right there. Okay, so I'm gonna go over to the sander, get myself a flat surface. Okay. So I just got off the sander. What I did was, if you see me, I took a face cut off of the face of this, and then you always take a cut off of the wider side, okay, and then put it down on the table. So this should be perfectly square right here, okay. Now we're gonna put some draft on this eventually, but as I'm laying this out, I want them square, okay. So these 2 edges that I just did, okay, how nice those go together, okay, that's going to be my parting line, okay, for the 2 halves, okay, so that's going to be the parting line. I want them nice and flat, so they're real nice and flat. So next step is what I'm going to do with these is I'm going to get the height, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler, my shrink rule, okay, measure this, and I'm getting, that's an inch, or 2 3/4 of an inch, okay? So we'll do this both ways again too. This is a little bit more difficult way. You can come out and do your 2 3/4, okay? Then I got a nice parallel line, okay? And this is where I like the mechanical pencils in that nice line that I just did, okay? Switching over to the mechanical pencil. Okay, now the other way, I'll show you real quick. Alright, let's say we didn't set this. Alright, so you make a 2 3/4 line on your piece of wood. Okay, go from your parting edge up. Alright, make your mark. I'll just keep my thing in there, my marking knife, before I get a line there. That way I can see my eyes are getting bad. So, alright, so then what you do is you put your scribe in that hole. You know, I just made a hole in there, okay? Then you can set it. That's the other way you can do that, okay? Then I make my mark. Okay. Now, one little kind of goof I did, but it's not a huge thing. Okay, so I had this surface. What I should have done is mark the non-surface. Okay, but we'll be okay. So there's a little bit here left. I'm gonna go over, take that on the bandsaw, cut that, and then we're gonna go over to the sander and sand them. And then we'll have our height of our pattern. Okay? Here's the importance why we put scribe lines on there. I don't know if this is going to come on this camera, but when we're sanding, you'll see that line disappear, hopefully. I don't know if you saw that. You see the last part fall off, okay? Got off the sander. One thing I forgot to tell you, what I always do is, like I said, that was the parting line, the two surfaces, okay? So what I'll do is I'll put a little P and then use that little leg as the parting line, okay? So that'll tell me that's the parting line, okay? So I got this square with each other, or parallel, right? We do have to put a little bit of an angle on there, okay? But the reason I did the full face first, I probably could have laid just this little leg out and then put this angle on here, okay? It's another way you could have done it. It's not a big deal. I'm going to put this angle on this now, and then I'll show you where we're going to put some draft on there, okay? Okay, next step with this is we got to start making the shape of this piece, okay? So what I got my protractor out. We need to put what's called draft on this thing, okay, so that it can pull out of the mold, all right? And we're going to be going over this and over it and over and over it, okay? So what I do is you got to determine what draft is in you're going to put on the pattern. I was telling you with the drawings, I kind of hit a little mental block when I was explaining the drawings. In the title block, a lot of times what they'll tell the drawing name, who drew it, who checked it, all that stuff. One of the biggest things is your tolerances, okay? That's a real important issue with the drawings and what you're doing with your pattern, okay? So if you get a true pattern drawing, a lot of times they'll tell you what draft that you want on your pattern, okay? They specify a lot of times because it might be a machining issue, okay? So I'm deciding myself what I'm going to put on here. I want to mold it. I want to mold it easy. So a good 2 degrees will be good on there. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start the parting, and then I'm going to take some draft off. Okay, so we'll start all the way out at the edge. Put a mark. Okay, So that's a 2-degree angle right here. Okay, now here's my parting line. So I don't have any lines on this yet, so it doesn't matter where we put this one. Okay, we'll put a line again there with plus 2 degree. Well, it's minus from that side. I'll tell you here this in a minute. Okay, so here's your two. That's edge. Okay, now that's this right here. Okay. All right, so exaggerate, we got 2 degrees on there, okay? Another thing, like I said, I do this on the fly, so it's hopefully we're gonna be together for a long time. There's just so much information all the time. Okay, most places I've ever worked, I've worked 5 different pattern shops, okay? You use your top dimension and then you add draft, okay? So we're here and then we're adding stock. Okay, like I said, this is exaggerated. There was only one shop that I worked in. They wanted you to take the mean dimension, like in the middle, so you take a little bit off here and then add. It was goofy as all get out. It just made things way more difficult. Like I said, I've never been anywhere where it wasn't adding draft, okay? Sometimes they'll specify you have to take draft off, okay? So you would actually lay it out from the bottom and take it off. Okay, so that's what that means. Okay, but we'll go over this one over and over and over and over. Okay, so we got this outside line here. All right, next dimension we gotta go is from our outside edge out to this flat. That's where it's flat. Okay, so that dimension, I'm gonna use my 16th side here. Okay, so I'm getting 2 1/8 of an inch on here. Okay, so here's my top, right? So I'm gonna go from this point here over 2 1/2 inches. Always use your knife, okay? So 2 1/2 inches over. Okay. There's where this is gonna be my flat spot right here. That's that spot right there. Okay. And I always do this. Like I said, my eyes are getting old. Alright, there's my line. There's my mark. Okay, now from there, we gotta make from here to here. But what I'll do first, I'll get my length first, okay, which I think is 13 1/2, I think we said. It's gonna be a little different because we got some finish on there now too. Alright, so they're 12 3/4, I think it was. So we're actually, we're 12 11/16, okay, for the overall length. So I'm going to put my ruler at the edge. So I have my 12. Actually, what I'm going to do too, I think I might have a 3 foot 3/16 or a 2 foot 3/16. All right, and 11/16. All right, let me go see real quick. I got I have a different ruler we're going to use here. All right, there's my length. Okay guys, sorry about that. I keep on forgetting. 2 foot shrink roll, okay? I wasn't sure I had the 3/16 shrink. I got one. I forgot about it. Okay, this will make things a little bit easier. Okay. All right, so I got my length right here. So what I'll do is I'll put the 2 pieces together. There's 2 different ways you can do this again too, okay? I can lay one out, put it on top of the other, and just trace it, okay? But that's not skillful, okay? I like to play games, and when you're first doing this also, okay, this is kind of a thing where play the game with me, okay? So I'm gonna lay out 2 different sides, all right, then we take it over to sander, sand everything up, see how well it matches, all right? It's kind of, it kind of tests you to push you to make sure that things are great and, you know, you got a good thing there. Okay, so, all right, here's the length, but like on this end, that's a square edge, okay? So we don't have the draft, so here's my top, okay? So we're gonna add draft on there, okay? And I'll show you the reason why we're doing it this way. All right, so we're gonna add 2 degrees on this, okay? doing it this way is, I'll show you the layout here. Okay, all right, so what we're doing, we go from here to the outside edge. Okay, so if I would have, say, here, kind of goofing here. The way the board is like board square like this, okay? So if I were to have put draft on here, I would have lost my dimension, okay? So the reason why I'm doing this, I'm coming all the way out to the end. I'm gonna add my draft so you can see that I gotta add a little bit here. So if I would have gone, you know, from here to here is my dimension, and then add my draft, the pattern's wrong, okay? It's not a big deal what we're doing, but I'm trying to teach you, okay? So you need the dimension up here, not down there, okay? So we got both of those. Next one is we're gonna measure from here up to here and get our angle, okay? So we got here, I got 2 1/8 of an inch, okay? And like I said, this isn't a big deal because it's for a buddy of mine, and he's given us a little bit of free reign, okay, on how to do it. He didn't give us any specific things. So we'll go 2 1/8 from the parting, 2 1/8, okay? I'll take my 2-footer, go from that mark, and I lost, oh, I didn't put this square mark down here. Okay. All right, where are we? And put my mark down here. Okay. So now I just I can use my 1-footer. All right, so I can just match the dots. Okay, now these are going to be kind of lengthy videos because, like I said, there's just so much information in these, okay? And I want to try to over and over and over and over again, okay? So there's a specific order in the way you do things, and the orders change all the time too, depending on what you're doing, okay? So this is going to be what the pattern looks like, okay, the end of it. So what we did, these are square, okay, parallel. The thickness is parallel. So it's easier for me right now to go cut this out on the bandsaw. We'll sand it, okay. Then here, we gotta add draft this way too, okay. So if I were to have cut my draft first, okay, then when I sand things, this isn't square, it's on an angle. So my side draft angles will come out different, okay? So we keep these parallel. We're gonna cut out the shape of it, and then we'll go back and we'll take our draft off, all right? So I'm gonna go to the bandsaw and over to the sander, sand these things out. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, back from the sanders. Okay, dude, look at that. I'm really good there. So, like I said, I play a little game. I want you to do it this way first too. You know, it's pretty much right there. Okay. So what you got here are the two pieces. All right, right there. That's your end. Okay, you can lay it on your layout. That's where it's at. Okay. So next piece we're gonna do. We got one more step to do with this, okay? So we got to do the width, okay? I'm jumping ahead, all right? So we're gonna do the 2 degrees. All right, so what we'll do is we get too many tools here. Get our marking gauge out, okay? Here's a way you can do square real quick. All right, so right there, I'm a little bit heavier than a 1/16. So what I can do is I can put an 1/8 inch mark here, and then I know I got enough for my 2 degrees draft, okay? So I'm gonna put an 1/8 inch mark there roughly, and then we'll measure over what width we need, okay? And these are gonna be on the top, okay, of each piece, all right? Not on the parting line. Okay, so that this will be the front face of each. Okay, now we'll go to our layout, okay? Measure how wide that is with we got some machining on there too, okay? So we got 1 3/16. So we'll measure over 1 3/16. And wow, this is pretty close, okay? So you use your mark gauge on the same surface that I use it to make my first 1/8 inch mark, okay? So if I were to go ahead, I don't know if you can see this mark here, I just lost it. Okay, so if I go from this side, okay, if this piece isn't perfectly parallel, this line is gonna, it's not gonna be parallel. So what we're gonna do is we made this 1/8 inch line here off of this face, so we're gonna take it off the same face, okay? So we got her there, make our mark, and make our mark. And then this is not really, you try to cut as much off as you can. You don't want to use your sander up, but this is, we're just going to be sanding this one, I think. So I'm going to go over to sander, sand this off, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys? Okay, guys, we got the ends done. We've got a couple more pieces to make. It's starting to get a little lengthy. I don't want to cut anything out. I want to show everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut, I'm going to continue making this, but we're going to cut the video into 2 sections, okay? So it's not going to be too lengthy for you, okay? So we'll get going on that, and what we're going to do also is working on the sander over there. What we're going to do, this Chalk Talk, I'm going to show you why I'm doing things the way I'm doing it on the sander, okay? We'll go over a little safety on the sander and why and what I'm doing over there, okay? So that'll be this week's Chalk Talk. We'll have this out Sunday, and then Wednesday we'll have a little sander video out for Chalk Talk, all right? So we'll see you guys Wednesday for the Chalk Talk.